You guys should see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Piss
So,
ass stream quality.
well, fuck you too then. Just talk about what we're talking about, and we'll be good.
Real.
All right. Yoshi, is Yoshi here?
Mm.
Yeah, Yoshi. Start talking about what's going on.
Oh, okay. Well, this is Haven, one of our least favorite maps. But
Aside from shards.
aside from shards, can you press tab? Oh no, you can't press tab.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you can. Sweet.
Ooh.
Oh, if only I could read words. So what are we
Yeah.
bringing? We're bringing a Conquer for Battleship. We're bringing a Brisbane, a Des Moines, a Moskva, a Venezia, and two destroyers. Zorki and Gdansk has been working for us. Usually we split up the destroyers. So what are we looking for deployment here, Zeka?
We have our initial deployment is Venezia and Zorki are going like initially going out wide. You see, that was me pinging from the Zorki there. I was looking at going like way the fuck out to the one line, because if they try and push and I'm like way out in the one line, I'll have a lot of room to kite while they have to push into me. So that's the thought behind that.
This
Masva is going to that island right there with the Brisbane nearby, if I remember correctly. Is that correct, or is that
Yeah.
Brisbane? Yeah. And then the Des Moines, Gdansk, and Conqueror are going to sea.
Yeah, actually, I think the initial call was to put the Conquer Central, but as you'll see in this game, it kind of develops that they become a pushing force up north. Now,
Yeah.
this map is super wide open. It's got tons of open ocean space, so the flanks are actually pretty important, and that's why we're trying to take the Venetian and Zorki out wide, because you don't want to get flanked. Because if you get flanked, then like for instance, that Moskva is going to be absolutely
Yeah,
screwed.
you're gonna be seeing some of that action in a minute here, and also just like this is slightly off topic, but am gonna point out that it is bullshit that Yamagiri doesn't get 8-12 torps. But anyway, back to the game.
So
Daring. Oh, Kleber. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we see this. They have three destroyers, so we know that they're gonna go for the cap. So you try to put the daring in the cap. This Colbert gets caught bow in,
Yep.
and look at his health now. He gets halved, I
Yeah.
think, which is
I'm about to
not
funny
great.
button an island here. Get ready to laugh. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, like I saw he was about to turn. I saw he was turning, and I was just like, get that shit off. I'm not gonna be
Oh,
shooting in a minute anyway. So, anyway,
only you
also,
had done that
yeah.
earlier.
Also, did anyone else notice that there was a salvo coming in from here, like over off in that direction, not from the Moskva, but like further from the Moskva? Did anyone else see that? Like in our comms, like me from the Zorki, I'm telling our guys they have at
You have another
least
cruiser.
3 ships.
Yeah.
They have at least 3 ships. I don't know what the other one was, but there he is, right
There
there.
it is. Yeah. That's one of the scariest ships to have to fight on the flank too. Godoza,
Yeah.
what's your BB brain thinking at this point in the game?
Alright, BB Brain is I'm gonna hit a rock and start reversing.
Nice.
Generally speaking, Conqueror plays pretty central. It's a really passive style. The main thing is just like you kind of can bait people with your super heal because it's like 46k or something ridiculous. So if you can maintain that low HP for long enough, people think, oh, he must have healed and someone sit him. And with poor communication, the other team doesn't realize that I just have something cooking. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can play either really passive when you get dev struck and then just like heal up like all of your HP back, or you can play aggro. Like one of my favorite things to do is play ass in, like pretty aggressive. We did that in another game, where I actually ended up almost dev striking in Annapolis because he just didn't realize, and
Yeah.
Yoshi or Brisbane actually spotted him with his face. So
Yeah.
and
That game is coming up later, by the way.
Conquer is also, and I think what we saw here like a minute ago when that daring got radared, I think we try to coordinate so that our battleship gets shots in the DD as well. And Conquer HE on DD is no joke. So
Yeah,
I think from-
having been on that
problem-
end, I can attest to that.
Yeah, the only problem with Conquer HE is you never really know when something like a Moskva is going to push up a little too heavy, or there's an Annapolis, or in this case there was a Brisbane. You always want to be ready for those dev strikes, but
Yes.
in certain situations, HE loaded is the play. Usually not at the beginning, because like, what are the
You
odds
never
you
know,
dev
yeah,
strike a
cruiser,
destroyer?
yeah.
Very low. What are the
Yeah.
odds you dev strike a broadside cruiser? A little bit higher.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you gotta
Also-
balance your ammo types a lot.
Yeah, and also for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know, Conqueror, if I remember correctly, does have a much shorter fuse time on its armor piercing than other battleships. So if Montana or a Vermont might overpen you, a Conqueror can still probably clap your ass, like we saw with that one Napoli versus RFG.
So if we look at the strat map here, they have 5 committed to A. So in our comms, we're saying we're not getting the A cap. There's no way. So at this point, I think the call was to take that northern force, which outnumbers their force on their home cap, and push A. But then I believe our Gdansk player,
Velius, yeah.
Valius makes a really good point here, saying that Brisbane, as strong as it is as a kiting ship because of the torpedo threat and the DPM, it does not have any broadside threat. So
Yeah.
he suggests that we actually go and pinch them at A, which is what they're doing
Yeah,
now.
which is you can see on the mini map right here. You can see our Des Moines and our Conqueror. Our call is basically like, fuck the Brisbane. What's it gonna do? Give us a rude gesture? Let's just pinch them at A, walk at the Daring's face, and just execute that guy. And that's what we're formulating right now. And we don't know it yet, I don't think. But the Sommers is up there too.
Well, I think they knew it because I think there was smoke, right, Gadoza?
Oh, was
I
there?
believe there was a smoke. Yeah.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
smoked their Brisbane, but the danger here now, of course, is your
No, it
broadside
was the
to torpedoes.
torps. It was 4 torps.
Oh,
We
yeah, yeah,
spotted
yeah.
4 torps at
Yeah.
one point, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's got to be something.
Yeah, so like the initial call was the Conqueror alone to push and pinch them, right? Either push the Brisbane or the Daring, either or. But then we point out, sending a Conqueror alone against a Sommers and a Daring is not a recipe for success there. So we have our Des Moines escorting the Conqueror with his Hydro, and that's about to be instrumental in the death of this Daring, as you're about to see in a few minutes here.
Yeah, he's just totally pinched behind that island. If he moves forward, then our Brisbane Zorky can just farm him. If he goes backwards, there's a Des
Even
Moines
if he
Conqueror
stays where he is, he's going to eventually get farmed out by the Brisbane Zorky, and that's literally what's about to happen right here.
Yeah.
I think like
He's
we
hydroed
called.
at that point, but
Yeah.
it does run out at a very inopportune moment.
Yeah,
So
he
I
was
think
getting
we
hydroed
actually
right there, so I think is he
radar
getting
him?
proxied right there?
I'm not sure.
We
did
didn't
radar
see the
him.
radar.
I think he's
Oh,
hydro.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
No, I
this
think
one,
I think he's
believe
getting
the,
proxy. I think he's getting proxy spotted there. There's no hydro rings, and
Right,
when we use the hydro to escort the Conqueror.
Just given the Brisbane and Sommers torps, it's just way too risky.
Yeah.
Especially when both are, reasonably fast ships. They can just rotate mid and just shit on my face. So.
Yeah. Even though you like it, that's not what you want to happen.
Not in the video game, no.
No.
In the video game.
So what do we think about their Vermont position? I thought their Vermont position was a bit interesting. I think if he had kind of kept pushing around, it would have caused us a bit more trouble.
Yeah.
guys
We
think?
don't have anything to really punish him short of Brisbane torps.
Yeah, that's
So-
what
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So I think
They
that the
also-
fact that they put their Vermont here on an island where he can only
Yeah.
really shoot his front guns. I don't know.
Yeah, and this Napoli right here is causing a lot of very annoying things
Yes.
to happen. I
Yeah.
think it was Jeebus in our Venezia is like, hey, this Napoli's pissing me off. Can we do something about it? And that's what me and the Zorkies here is. I'm trying to do something about that. Because
Yeah.
that Vermont at this point, he's shown us that he's not interested in pushing, right? So we're like, all right, this Vermont's is just gonna sit there and be a bitch. So let's just farm a Napoli for a little
Yeah,
while.
and the Kleber is clearly rotating somewhere else. So their push that was kind of coming down the west side is now just to push us off, but we can re-push or put pressure here.
There's the Colbert.
And there's the Kleber, yeah, who I think
Yeah.
Guai kills. Or
Yeah,
Des
I
Moines,
think-
I think gets
yeah,
in here soon.
I think between the Gdansk and the Kleber, the Gdansk and the Des Moines, rather, that Kleber is about to just straight up get executed.
Yeah, it kind of a misplay here. You never want to be caught bow in and destroyer, especially if you already have half health. And I think their Kleber pays for it here. He's walking into 2 radars, so he must have known.
Yeah.
At this point, the
To be
push
fair,
up
it did
north-
cost Velius or Gdansk a lot of health to do that. To be completely fair, but he still got away with it.
The push is starting to materialize. I waited for the DM Hydro. I just parked at the island, baited a bunch of torps, and you will see what is about to ensue on the south flank. Because, to be honest, like, there is no Brisbane Dev Strike, unfortunately. But
No.
there is a bit of a Sommers issue. The Sommers
Yeah.
incident, if you will.
Now,
Yeah.
this Summers appears to also be being caught bow in here.
Yeah, that's
A lot of that
Sommers. Like,
happened.
he's literally about to just straight up walk at the face of a Des Moines and a
And a
Conqueror.
Conqueror, yeah. So they looks like they might lose all 3 of their destroyers as their first 3 ships, which is
Yeah.
when
Which
you're
is,
playing
it's
competitive,
literally a random game. Like, literally all the destroyers are dead.
all the destroyers are dead. Yeah.
The big thing, too, that happens up north is I actually bonk the DM out of torps. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can fully see it there, but we do
No,
do
it
a
can't
little
because
bit
of the
ship
island and
kissing,
distance.
And
Yeah.
Oh,
You're over there
nice.
playing. They're basically playing grab ass.
Pretty much.
Nice.
Pretty much.
As you see, me in the Brisbane here, I take a shit ton of damage from the Napoli, but I thought it was worth it to help our Venezia. So I think I take 3 Napoli salvos, but then we end up getting
Yeah.
a kill. So I just trading HP for.
And I just
Save
launched some
boost.
Make-A-Wish torps, even though they're out of range. Might as well, cause you know. Who knows? That Moskva might fucking push into the torps meant for the Vermont.
So at this point, it's pretty obvious the game is won. Conqueror had, some impact.
Yeah.
The main thing
Like-
was just shoving at things with its face, so.
Yeah, the main thing here is just like the fact that they had a very, very crippling weakness in their deployment in that they had no heavy ships at their home cap, right? So we were literally just able to push just for more or less for free through the middle of the map because their home cap force literally could not punish it.
The Vermont was essentially vestigial at that point as well. He was just behind a rock, couldn't punish the Conqueror pushing mid, couldn't punish the Brisbane. He had his face stuck in a rock. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you have your flanks taken care of and you want to collapse to the center, Haven does have some nice rocks, and I think Godosa, you probably used a few of those rocks to block torps or maybe block Vermont line of sight. So
surprisingly, the Vermont never really looked at me. He maybe shot
Yeah.
like once or twice, but
I don't know how much damage he did, but it didn't feel like a lot because I think Nika was pretty healthy too. Jeebus was only fighting the Napoli. I don't know. He must have done like maybe 50k or something.
Here's a question for you guys. Like, if we were doing this, for, like, if we're imagining ourselves from the perspective of Bonky here, what do you think they could have done different?
Well, largely the Vermont could have stopped me pushing mid if he was mid, or on a flank, or literally kind of anywhere else.
Yeah, like literally just anywhere else other than where he was.
The Kleber got spotted and did some questionable maneuvering later into the game. Taking
Yeah.
half of his HP at the very beginning obviously isn't ideal, but you can get away with that in Kleber, especially with the hull being heavily resistant and easily saturatable with HE, so you take minimal damage.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing, the Napoli, like, let's talk about what went well, because the Napoli really just walked all over us for a little bit. He wasn't necessarily doing much, but he gained a lot of ground. If they could have taken
Yeah.
advantage of some of that ground, maybe push the Vermont out, that could have been really dangerous
Yep.
for us.
Yeah, I think their Vermont could have, with their Napoli plus Vermont, could have killed our Venezia.
Yeah.
And then it
Possibly
would-
our Moskva as well, I think.
And then it would have been the opposite problem where we just have a Brisbane on the flank and they can be pushed into by heavier ships. So
Yeah.
I think they not finishing that push probably cost them.
Yeah. And
Another win con could have been bringing the Salem. Well, maybe not win con, but they could have back capped us with the Salem, or sorry, the Sommers. Excuse
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
If he just went around
True.
the northeast flank, because
True,
we had
actually-
no ships there.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. If they back up us, that's always annoying when you get back capped.
Yeah,
it really
but like
puts the ball in the other person's court.
yeah, a note about the backcapping thing is like if they're doing that and while a Vermont and a Napoli are pushing our force from contested to our home, they're literally pushing our heavy ships into a torpedo boat that we have no way of spotting. So that's a very very dangerous situation because even if he doesn't get or our home cap, or if he gets it and we immediately take it back, it's so what? Because now we're being forced to push into an unspotted torpedo boat by a Napoli and a Vermont who's like literally standing on our faces.
Right. So overall, it was a very strong win. Generally speaking, there were a lot of mistakes made on the other enemy team. If they tightened up their play, it could have been a much closer game. But that's
Yeah, I would
just
say
how
the
it is
biggest thing,
sometimes.
the sort of the mechanical biggest thing was all three of their destroyers got caught bow in and ended up dying. And then strategically, we've already sort of discussed that. But yeah, DD comp DD, as you know, Zeka, as I know as well, like you really have to be careful of all enemy radars because one radar could kill you, especially with gimmicks out there this season.
Yeah, like the amount of funny buttons out there. Annapolis is a very popular pick right now. Zorky is also a very common pick, as you can see. In our comp, we have a Zorky right here. Also, no, straight up, we touched on this in the beginning of the match. They straight up did not bring any super ship of any description.
Yeah.
That was pretty big too.
Hello, gents.
What's up, Goros?
Does anyone want to play a game or two with us?
Fuck you. We are doing a video.
I will play one because you have
I'm
good
sorry, guys.
I will help
didn't know
them
you were
out.
in the middle of the video.
I will help
Yeah,
them out. I will help them out.
You're good. All right. Any closing comments, guys? Anything?
I thought they did really well. Good job.
Okay, good. Great.
Good stuff.
All right. Yep.